Hi, so it's been a while since the last 996 video, so apologies for that. Thanks for staying with me and watching this video, but I wanted to get you in the 996 again for three reasons. So one was I was just really surprised and delighted about how many views that the previous two videos got, really beyond expectations. Secondly, I'm also aware that those videos were very much kind of static and just walking around the car, so I wanted to get behind the wheel and explain what this car's like to drive. And thirdly, those first videos as well were very much experiments for me with lower quality equipment, and I know they were pretty shaky, and so if my video editing skills are up to scratch about now, we'll be outside the car having a look round. So I wanted to give you a quick refresh as well, just with better quality equipment, and also if you didn't see the first videos as well. So it's a 996.1, so a phase 1 996. It's a slightly later one because it's got the smoked indicator lenses, but it's still got the original headlights, which I've really come to love actually as part of the original design. It's in Arctic silver. It's got the 18-inch twist alloy wheels. They're optional, you usually get 17s. I think, you know, at the time it got criticised for having that bar of soap design. I think it's coming to its own now. I think it looks really good, but I do think you need the 18s to set it off. And what else we've got? It's a completely unadorned body, so there are no side skirts, which are optional. There's no aero kit, no spoilers or anything, so this is completely unadorned. I do quite like the aero kit as well, but I really like this car in terms of it's just the purest version of this shape on the 18-inch alloy wheels. Also worth noting that it's not the sunroof spec either. And if we go inside, we've got the optional sports seats. I think they're known as the wingback sports seats, but the optional seats, it's Metropole blue leather, and you might notice a bit of wear and tear on this car. If I look at the odo now, it's 147,719 miles, so I think the outside is very tidy, but I do think this is a very honest car, usable car. It's part of the reason it appealed to me, that I wouldn't feel scared using it. So the Metropole blue leather extends to the door cards, the dash top. Also got the 3-spoke steering wheel, and what I didn't mention as well when we're outside was it's a Carrera 2, so it's a rear-wheel drive model. It's a manual gearbox, so it's the next best thing really to a GT3 in the 996 generation. The other thing to mention while we're inside that isn't standard is the Porsche communication system. So from Porsche Classic, this is the upgraded system, so it brings sat-nav, DAB, Bluetooth as well, and that has been a real bonus. It's got the USB cable as well, and I have used this for a few jobs of work that maybe I wouldn't have done without the sat-nav. I'll just be quiet so you can hear it start up. So this car's got the optional Dansk sports exhaust. Actually, we'll talk about that maybe in a minute. So the first time I drove a 996, I've driven a 996 Turbo before actually. I think it was a pretty baggy one. Wasn't that impressed. And then I drove Josh's car from Autofarm. So he's the founder of the Autofarm Porsche specialists. First thing I noticed when I drove Josh's car was the steering. Really unusually delicate, tactile steering. It's constantly communicating to you what the road surface is doing. And then there's the weight of this car. It's 1350 kilos, so it's the lightest of all the water-cooled 911s. Now, obviously 1350 isn't incredibly light in terms of, you know, things like Caterhams or whatever, race cars, but in terms of modern sports cars, it is pretty light. So you feel that. Also, the kind of compact nature of this car, so it's just nice and narrow, easy to thread down a British B road, and also it's got really good visibility, so nice low bonnet. You've got the peaks of the wings that help you place it, and also just generally nice visibility over your shoulder, whether you're parking or whatever. Now clearly there's a lot of overlap there with the 997 generation, the 911 that followed. They are very closely related, but I would say the 997 has a kind of chunkier, more robust feel to it. I do really like a 997, I'll have one in a second, but I think that is the difference. There is just kind of that tactile, more delicate feel to this car. It's lighter feel, and that gives the 996 a character all of its own. Now, the other thing we need to talk about is the seating position. I do like this seating position generally. We've got the legs straight out ahead of us. We've got the sports seats in my car. Really like the look of them. You just have to be aware that they do hunch your shoulders in a little bit. I'm relatively thin, I'm not that broad, so you know, it doesn't bother me that much, but just be aware of that if you're looking at one. When I bought my car, the other thing I noticed and I was a bit disappointed with was the brake feel. It was quite sort of soft, it didn't give me a lot of confidence, and I don't know if that was just an old set of pads or what, but I ended up switching to off-roader race pads, that certainly firmed up the pedal feel. One thing that I wasn't so keen on was a lot of brake dust, and also couldn't get wear sensors in there, so a light came up on the dash. I've sorted that out since. And if you do get them kind of moderately to pretty hot on the road, they start to squeal a lot, and that is really annoying. The heart of this car, of course, is the engine. So this is the early one. It's the 3.4 litre flat six, got about 300 brake horsepower, so 300 PS, so a little less in terms of horsepower, and but it's absolutely beautiful. I love the way this car is kind of really flexible, low down, and then when you let it sing, it's just amazing. Just find a bit of space in a minute. So we're at 3,000 RPM now. I'll just be quiet. All the way up to 7.2, so it does make a lovely racket. It's really flexible and zings all the way up there. Pulls us past that car in a second. It's such a quick little car. It's not insanely rapid, things have moved on, but you've still got more than enough performance. You certainly don't feel like you're hanging about at all. Now this car is on the standard suspension, it's not got the sport suspension, but I think this is a nice mix for the kind of roads I use it on. It's relatively firm, it is a sports car, it is a Porsche, but at the same time you've still got plenty of compliance, so very nice mix for the road, I think. I do think these cars are very, very sensitive to tyres, both pressures and wear as well, so as soon as you let the pressures drop just a little bit, you do notice a much baggier kind of feel to these cars, so you've got to keep on top of that. And also just the wear in terms of, you know, obviously the wear, the rears wear out faster. So if you have, like this car has now, it's got a good set of fronts on it and a set of rears that are kind of midway through their life. That is a beautiful way to have this car. But when I replace the rears and they're brand new and then the fronts are kind of halfway through their lives, that starts to make it a very understeery car. So it makes a big difference in a way that I've never quite experienced before, I think. So if I can just have a look up here. So it's got no diff in this car, but it doesn't matter as much as it does in some cars because it's got so much weight over the rear end. It's all pinning it down. So you can see that when you've got that chance to move it around and use the weight distribution, it's just learning to play with that. I think it is less intuitive than it is with a mid-engine car, but once you get it, and you've also got that lack of weight over the front end as you get in mid-engine cars as well, and that's just what makes this car so special to me. So thanks very much for watching. I hope this has given you a taste of what it's like to own and drive a 996. There is some more Porsche content coming up. I'll do my best to get that up a bit faster, but thanks for watching and see you next time.